Hey TK, time for us to get started on some math. So before spring break, we were working with our friend Gus the Plus, and he was helping us to add things up. So today we're going to continue our work with Gus the Plus, but we're going to be using something called a story problem. So let's go over our objectives so we know what we're going to be working on. All right, so today our objective is what we are going to learn. I can write a number sentence about a story problem. Ooh, so today we're still going to be working on those number sentences. Remember where you're using your Gus the Plus to help you add up two numbers and figure out what they equal. But we're going to be talking about story problems today. So before we can do that, I want to remind us what Gus the Plus does. So we're going to say our Gus the Plus chant. I'll say it one time and then I want you to say it with me. So we're taking two parts and putting them together. Add them up because more is better. So remember, that's what Gus the Plus helps us do. He helps us to take two things, put them together, and add them up. So let's do it all together now. Taking two parts and putting them together. Add them up because more is better. Great job, you guys. So now that we remember what Gus the Plus helps us do, let's talk about what a story problem is. So in a story problem, you're going to be hearing a little story. And in this story, you're going to be hearing about some different amounts, some different numbers of things. And I'm going to be saying things like, how many are there in all? Now, you know from when we were in class that when I say how many, when I'm asking a how many question, we need to do what to figure out how many of something there are? What do we need to do? We need to count. So if I said, how many words are in my sentence? Then I would need to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I counted to figure out there were 10 words in my sentence. So when we're going to hear some story problems today, I'm going to be asking you some how many questions, and you might hear words like in all or all together. So we might hear how many words are all together on our board, or how many are there in all? So then what would I need to do? If I wasn't just asking about one sentence, but asking about all the words on the board, how many are there in all? I would need to count all the words, right? So today, when we're going to be talking about some story problems, we're going to be hearing some stories. You're going to be hearing about different amounts of things in the story. And then you might hear words like, how many are there in all? Or how many are there all together? And those are telling you that we need to count everything that we're hearing about. And to help us do that, we've got Gus the Plus, and we're going to be writing some number sentences. So I'm going to give you an example, and then I'm going to have you guys try one for your homework or at home, okay? So here is our story problem for today. Here's my little board that I'm going to be showing you the story problem on. So here's my little story. One day, there were some butterflies, two butterflies flying, and they saw some birds. The birds were also flying in the sky. How many animals were flying in the sky all together? So you heard about two butterflies and you heard about three birds, and they're flying in the sky. And I'm asking how many in all are flying? How many are flying all together? Now remember, our objective is to write a number sentence about this. So what am I going to need to do? Let's start with seeing the different numbers that we have. We heard about two butterflies and three birds. those are the two numbers that we're going to need to add up to figure how many animals were flying all together. So we're going to start with that. First, we're going to write our first number. There were 2 butterflies. So I'm going to use my pink to write my 2. And then there were 3 birds. Oh my goodness, my purple marker isn't working. Let's use this purple. 3 birds. Now remember, we want to know how many there are all together. So who could help us add things up? Who brings them together? Gus the Plus. Remember, Gus the Plus will take 2 things and put them together. So I'm going to need to throw in my Gus the Plus here. 2 butterflies plus 3 birds. And then remember, when we want to know how many there are all together, or in all, we got to do our equal sign, because that's going to tell us what these 2 numbers add up to. So 2 plus 3 equals. Now, in order to figure out what that equals, what 2 plus 3 equals, I need to count everything, because we're trying to figure out how many birds and butterflies there were in all. How many animals were there in all that were flying? So I'm going to use my finger here to touch and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. So now I know from my story problem that when there were 2 birds and 3 butterflies flying, that meant there were 5 animals flying all together. So that's an example of using our number sentence, writing our number sentence about a story problem. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up another story problem for you, okay? Now this time I'm not going to write the number sentence. You guys are going to do it by yourself, and I'm not going to tell you the answer. Okay, so here's our new story problem. So on Easter, there was a garden, and in the garden, there were 2 flowers. There also was 2 eggs in the garden. How many things are in the garden altogether? So that's your story problem that you're going to write a number sentence for. In the garden, there are 2 flowers and 2 eggs. How many things are in the garden altogether? So I hope you remember what it means when you hear those words like all together or in all. If you need help with your number sentence, you can let me know, but I know you guys have got this. You were doing so great before spring break, and I'm sure that you're going to do just as great now. So good luck, and I will see you back here tomorrow.